It looks like Q1 for Tesla is gonna be a disaster. Again. At first, guys, I'll be honest. At first, I thought, Q1's gonna be the same in terms of delivery rate as Q4 of 2023. But then Giga Berlin had to shut down for 2 weeks because of the Red Sea incident. Okay, fine. That's something that you can't control. Fine. Then we now have the same Giga Berlin factory. Someone tried to blow it up and they were out of power. And I mean, just recently they got their power back, but there was no production for 5-6 days. And we still don't know. We don't have any news if there is production, if they started production or not, since they got their power back yesterday. So we have to take that into consideration for Q1 delivery rate and production rate. And on top of that, we had the Chinese New Year in China as well, so that was like 10 days of no production either. So yeah, Q1 is looking to be a disaster, I'm not gonna lie, and we're gonna be revising the numbers here. So let's not waste any more time. Smash that like button and hit subscribe if you haven't already, man. Let's go. So here's my production and delivery chart, and I made this video like last week, but we have to update it again because of all the craziness that's happened in Giga Berlin, and it's been revised. As you guys can see in the beginning, or in the last week, I said 475,000 vehicles, which was much lower than what I anticipated, which would be around 480. Now it got dropped down to 450,000 vehicles. Here are the things that I changed. For Fremont, I think 17,000 vehicles being produced daily is a bit too much, because in 2023, max capacity, they were at 550,000 vehicles for the whole year. That comes down to 1,500 vehicles being produced every single day. Here, I put 1,550 or 1,550 vehicles being produced every single day. So a slight improvement, because the thing with Fremont, it's already max capacity and there's really no way to expand it. I made a video about, I interviewed a Gigafactory expert, Brian, or Futuraza, formerly known as My Tesla Weekend. You guys can check the video here. He has some awesome insights on this. But Fremont it's at max capacity, and I was giving it 1,700 before. Now I'm gonna give it 1,550 here. So that brought it down from like 150,000 to 136. So that brought the production levels down even more. We have Berlin in February being below 10,000 because of all the shutdowns that went down due to the Red Sea incident, and 500 vehicles being produced daily. I brought it down from 600 or 700. And for March, I put 25 days of production. I think this could be even less, but just to be conservative in a way, I also brought down the daily production from 700 to 500. If there is any missing days, I caught that as well. And we get just below 38,000 vehicles being produced. Texas seems to be all right. Shanghai, I do think March is gonna be a surprise for all of us. I think they could potentially hit 100,000 vehicles or close to it. The half year 93,000, but nonetheless, we have 450,508 vehicles being delivered. And I think this seems to be even the bullish. Yeah, I know it sounds pretty darn bad. It's a bad cheesh moment, but I think this quarter is not gonna be the greatest quarter. And let's go and put this into the stock price to see what the stock price will be for Q1, and see what the profits and revenue would be, because that's very important. And I mean, obviously I checked this before doing this video. It was quite a disaster. So let's do that. Smash that like button if you guys haven't already. Why isn't that like button smash, man? Come on, smash it. All right, let's go. So here's my Tesla stock price prediction chart. If you guys are a regular viewer, then you guys already know this chart. And if you guys want access to this, it's on Patreon. You guys can support me, and you guys can get access to the entire Tesla master charts, where it has valuations of compact car, of the whole company. It's crazy with spreadsheets, and I continue to keep adding on to that every other month or so. So in Q1, we said 450,508. Average selling price is around 43,000 vehicles. I do think there is going to be an uptick on average selling price. I do think vehicle gross profits will be below 16.8% because we're not achieving economy of scale as much as we should be, but I don't think it's going to be down that bad. Nonetheless, for 450,000 or about 451,000 vehicles, we get 8% operating margin, which is still good, which is still above 8%, but this is with 16.8% profits, like vehicle gross profits. I'm going to bring this down to 16.5 and operating margin of 7.7%. That is not good, folks. That is not good. Maybe vehicle gross profits can be 16.6 at 7.8%, but I'm gonna keep it at the lowest as I possibly can, so I'm not that surprised when it comes this Q1 earnings next month. But we got, quarter revenue for quarter one over $24,000, net income gap of just below 1.9 billion, and non-gap of almost 2.4 billion. EPS gap diluted 53 cents. Wall Street is expecting around 60 cents, so it looks like it's gonna be a miss again. And if this happens, guys, right now the stock price is hovering around the, 180s? That's what a stock price of P of 40? No, maybe 43. I think it's 43. There we go, about a bit lower than $600 billion. If they do this, and it depends on guidance, guys. If guidance comes out as bad as it usually is for a lot of analysts, I can see this getting down to like maybe 147. And I think this is the lowest, but sometimes, more often than not, the stock market or the stocks are more irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So I can see a massive panic. Analysts going like, Tesla's just a car company. No way, Jose, anything else. Missing out all the FSD12 that's going on, which is, I'll be making a video about that soon because that's just insane. If you guys are following on X, you guys already know. But if you guys aren't, then you guys are in for some sweetness. So make sure you guys are subscribed, all right? So 30 PE, around $126. Yeah, I mean, if it wants to go down to, $100, that's a PE of what, 23, 24, around there. Yeah, so I'm not too sure about that, guys. I'm not too sure. 35 PE, so I'm gonna keep it at. As the lowest, maybe 40 PE to stay a little bit more, forward looking, and interest rate cuts, and Q2 is gonna be a much better quarter. I do think Q2 is gonna be a much better quarter. If all gigafactories are on full cylinder, producing as much as they can, there's no interruptions, and there's nothing. I can easily see them delivering around 525,000 vehicles with the same average selling price. And I do think with that, we can see a vehicle gross profits of 17%. And let's see what we get. Look at that. Sheesh moment, 8.7% operating margin. You got almost $28 billion in revenue, and then almost $2.5 billion in net gap for earnings. And for non-gap, almost $3 billion, 69 cents, which is quite hilarious in that case. I could see a PE, this was a decent quarter. Energy is growing, vehicles is going up, they're not reducing prices as much. So maybe we could probably see PE around 45, maximum 500, staying around the 200s, around there. I could probably see that. 45 PE to stay in between, right? Q3, I can see them continuing growing about 550,000 vehicles. Again, keeping the average selling price for each vehicle at the same 43,000. I'm going to be increasing the vehicle gross profit to 17.5%, and we get 9.1% for operating margin, which is amazing. Look at that total gap gross margin. This is how you know Tesla is now growing. We need to see this uptrend right here. And 9.1%. With total revenue, we get almost $30 billion, which will be the first time ever if we hit that Q4. And net income gap over 2.7 billion and non-gap of 3.2 billion, 77 cents for the EPS. I can see PE around 50, and if there is interest rate cuts coming, maybe even around 60 and other things coming, I'm gonna say 50 just to stay conservative. In 2024, I could see 575,000 vehicles being produced, maybe even as high as 600,000 if there is proper interest rate cuts. But I'm gonna say there's not gonna be interest rate cuts, just to say keep it conservative. As you guys already know, I'm pretty conservative. Vehicle gross profits of 17.8%. We get, look at that, 9.2% for operating margin, almost $32 billion in revenue, which would be flipping awesome. And then we get net income gap of almost 3 billion, 3.5 billion for non-gap. And look at that, guys. We end off the whole year of around $114 billion, but the net income is around just below 10 billion. Unless there's some tax incentives again, that's a lot less than 2023. But nonetheless, EPS gap is 83 cents. We're still growing here. And because the EPS on a fiscal year has dropped from $4.23 to $2.81, because remember, Q4 of 2023, we had the tax incentive, the out of nowhere 5.76 billion that Tesla got from all the tax losses from the previous years. So really the real PE should be a bit, maybe it's 50-60% more for Q1, Q2, and Q3. So I could probably see the PE being as high as 75, maybe as high as 80, around there, maybe even 100, around 280. And I do think this would be a proper price target for 2024. My price target is 350 for this year. And why? Well, because interest rate cuts, we have 1 year or 3 quarters until the compact car comes out. We see margins improving, you know, stockbroker is forward looking. That's a PE of 125, which I think we can get there. I'm not gonna lie, I think we can get there, and that's a stock price of 350. But for this case, 100 PE, 280, just below 1 trillion in these environments. If there's no interest rate cuts, and if there's still a lot of hiccups, but the forward sentiment is good for Tesla, I can see 100 PE for 280 as well. So there you guys have it. You know, Q2, Q3, Q4 is still under speculation. Q1 is the closest that's not speculation, even though it is. But 451,000 vehicles, that's not my final. My final will be posted on X. If you guys aren't following me there, I don't know why you aren't. But here's what's gonna happen if they do less than 451,000 in Q1, right? Let's do 430, because that's what everyone is saying. Look at that. If that's the case, I can see the margins for 16% going down as 16.2%, operating margin 7.1%, net income 1.7. This would bring the whole market down. Man, look at the EPS, 48 cents. That's gonna be a disaster every quarter. I think that's what everyone is expecting. Between 430 and 440. I think in between 430 would make sense. Let's say 435. All right, let's do that. Let's bring up the, you know, vehicle gross profits of 16.4%, something like that. With a 40 PE, that's 166, 35 PE, again, 146 around there. Not much of a difference, but if there's a panic, maybe going as low as, I don't know, 28 PE around there. It's just gonna be insane. Nonetheless, gonna keep it at 40 PE because, again, I'm gonna say the market is a bit optimistic, I guess. I mean, for Teslas, it's FUD like no other, but I think the optimism and the forward looking of the stock market would give them around a 40 PE. And hey man, I'm buying Tesla stock with every spare cent that I got. I mean, I hope it goes lower. That's all I'm saying. But that's what the numbers show if it becomes true. Now here's the thing, guys. This is why I keep saying that there's no rush to buy Tesla stock. You guys have literally 2 or 3 quarters to continue buying at lower levels if you guys are looking to time the market, even though I don't recommend that. I don't recommend anyone timing the market. I'm dollar cost averaging in and I have my targets to hit. And once I hit it, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep buying more Tesla stock. However though, a time will come where the sentiment will shift, where interest rates go down, where everyone thinks that EVs are gonna be the next thing and Tesla looks to be dominating and Tesla's winning all of a sudden. All of these happens in a year, right? You wait for so many years, nothing happens, and then just 1 year something just explodes and something happens. Tesla is that stock. There's many stocks like that, like Nvidia was one of them, but Tesla is that stock. Now, will this happen in 2026, 2027, 2028? We don't know. But one thing is for sure, guys, there is no rush to buy Tesla stock whatsoever. My recommendation, if you guys are all in like I am into Tesla stock, just dollar cost average in, that's it. Not financial advice. Even this is not financial advice, it's a prediction, but dollar cost averaging in. If your investment is until 2030, at least at the minimum, then I don't see anyone losing, especially with full self-driving, you know, in just around the corner. Nonetheless, guys, there's no rush to buy this. You guys can check out this video here on how I explain there is no rush to buy Tesla stock. And you guys, if you guys want to support me, you guys can get the I Bought the Deb t-shirt or some she shorts right here. And I love you all. Subscribe and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.